Call to order County Commission for June 27, 2019. If you will log in with your electronic device, it should populate on the screen. Also, for technology for you, let's get logged in.
There we go now. Present. Look, present. No, you're good. See, you're present. So we leave it like that. Down there. Yeah, I've got the weather. It's cloudy.
Is new.
We have a quorum with one absent. Mr. Bolton and Mr. Longmire have both worked to get the electronics in place here, and it's kind of a learning experience for all of us. And we thank them for the work that they've done. In saying that, let me tell you that you're no longer tripping over wires to get in here. You have wireless microphones. And with that, if your microphone is green, they tell me in the term he said is you are live. You have a button that you can push there and it will go red, and you will not be going through your microphone. So if your microphone is green, quote you're alive or live, it'll be broadcast through your microphone. So having everyone logged in, I'll ask our chaplain, Steve Douglas, if he'll lead us in our prayer. Before we have our prayer, let me announce that the Newmarket Junior Fire Department firefighters just recently become champions in a competition in North Carolina. It's a nationwide competition. These junior firefighters are here with us tonight, and they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance when that time comes. And thank you for serving Jefferson County proud. And while we're talking about proud things that's happening, let me remind you, if you don't know, our softball team won the state championship from Jefferson County High School this year. So I'd like to be proud of Mr. Doug.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight once again most thankful, Lord, for our community, our county, and our state, and our country. We ask, Lord, that you would help us to serve our community to the best of our ability. Be with us, Father. Help us to make the right decisions, the decisions that honor and glorify your name, and make Jefferson County, Tennessee a better place to live. We give you thanks in all things. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Solomon.
Yes, sir. Thank you all for having us here. I want to say that. And thank you all. And these fine young men and ladies, y'all can see, and I did a wonderful job up there. They made us proud. Our 18 team, they've been first place. And it tickled me to death that day. But they asked us to come lead the pledge and recognize them, so we want to do the pledge. Go ahead, boy. Thank you. Go ahead, man.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, a little housekeeping. Since how we are electronic, there is a request to speak button. If you wish to speak, you'll need to push the request to speak button to be recognized by the chair. In addition to that, if you want to make an amendment to any resolution or motion or second, there are buttons there for that. You have a copy of the agenda in front of you. A motion to approve the agenda or any correction to the agenda would be in order. We have a motion by Mr. Solomon, a second by A.J. Walker. Any corrections or any adjustments to the agenda? If not, go ahead and vote. If you're in favor of approving the agenda as it is, vote yes. No, if not. agenda is approved. Next item is approval of minutes. You have a copy of the minutes written before you. You saw those at the work session. A motion to approve the minutes would be, in order. We have a motion by Tim Seals, second by Greg Bird. Any amendments to the minutes? Hearing none, vote yes if you're in favor of approval of minutes. Minutes are approved as presented. I received no request from any citizen that wished to appear in front of the county commission. Is that an oversight? Did you not? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item. It's approval of notaries and bonds. Let me note to you that Mr. Herndon has attached a second sheet, an additional sheet of people that are here that are up for approval for a notary and a bond. I just want to draw your attention to that. You saw the first draft at the work session. There are other names that have been added. A motion to approve these notaries and bonds would be in order. We have a motion by Mr. Blevins, second by Mr. Scarlett. Any discussion? No request to speak. Motion, wrong vote? Okay. So we will vote at this time. All in favor of approving these notaries and bonds, vote yes. These people are approved. That moves us down to reports from elected officials, department heads, and other officials. Before I go into appointments, I want to introduce someone to you. Allie Fletcher, if you would stand, our Carson Newman intern who's been helping us out part-time in the mayor's office. And she's here at County Commission. So welcome her, and she will be with us until she graduates, which should be next year, I hope, right? So, but anyway, she's been helping out with our leader grant and other grant applications that come out, and so we're really happy to have her in the office helping out. And as we've had some people out this summer, she's been a team player and learning different responsibilities in the county for different departments. So we're glad she's helping out. Mayoral appointment. I have one appointment, be Arlie Ball on the Jefferson County Sanitation Commission, which would also put Arlie on the Jefferson County Solid Waste Regional Planning Board. This is the continued term for Bertie Jean French, who has resigned due to health reasons. A motion to approve this appointment would be in order. Mr. Scarlett, second by Mr. Coleman. Any discussion? All in favor, vote yes. Opposed, no. Arlie Ball is approved to that board. Next item, you have reports from your other elected officials, Mr. Herndon, Sheriff, County Attorney, and all the other reports that are here. There are no reports to be given at this time, which brings us down to committees, boards, and commissions. Mr. Mining is here from Jefferson Park tonight, and at this time, Mr. Mining, there you are, sir. Could you please come to the microphone and thank you for being here tonight.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. Thank you for your time this evening and for your support, as always, for Jefferson Park. The reason for my appearance is to bring you up to date on a proposed project that the Nursing Home Board has instructed me to pursue regarding expansion of Jefferson Park into the community of White Pine. We've been discreet regarding discussions of this project at this point in order to maintain a competitive advantage in our marketplace and to ensure a smooth acquisition of the property that we desire. At this time, no action is needed from you. However, I will be coming back to you in the future to request consideration of a bond issue for new construction of this project. In the meantime, we are performing our due diligence and have taken an option on some property, which we should be in the process of closing in the very near future. As this project moves forward and further details are determined, I will certainly keep the commission apprised. Are there any questions?
If you want to speak, please press request to speak. Can't do it? Okay, all right. Just raise your hand. Okay. And I apologize for the feedback. This is, we're trying to work this system out. Mr. Dockery, did you? No one? Any questions for Mr. Minor? Thank you, sir, and I'm sure the people of White Pine are excited to hear the news about that.
Thank you.
Next item, I gave another library appointment sheet to you as I got different information. To remind you or to inform you that if you do not know, the library board recommends people to county commission. County commission simply appoints these based upon their city and their county, whether county or city. Some of these are on the Clinch River Regional Library Board at the same time that they serve the County Library Board of Trustees. And on this list, you'll find that Laura Darby is in her second term for Jefferson City, which would be July of 2019 to 2022, which would also, she is the representative on the Clinch River Regional Library Board. Tracy Cagle as a Jefferson County representative first term, 2019 through 22. Paige Bolton, a Jefferson County to replace Jim Hodge, who resigned. And I found out today that that term would be 2019 to 2022. I inappropriately typed 2021. So with that, just to let you know, those changes are bringing it up to date for the library board. And a motion to approve these recommendations from the library would be in order. And we have a motion from Mr. Blevins and a second from Mr. Solomon. Any discussion? Vote yes if you approve these recommendations, no if you do not. These people are approved. Next item is nominating committee. Mr. Seals.
Yeah, we have a couple of names here for the Animal Control Oversight Board. Honey Miller and Bruce, how do you say that, Frank? Dagness. For that, you want to take them all at once or just?
Let's do separate.
Okay.
We'll do audit committee next.
Those two for that oversight committee.
It comes from the nominating committee, needs no second. Any discussion? All in favor of these appointments, vote yes. These are appointed.
And the next is two reappointments on the audit committee, is Gary Jett and Phyllis Best.
This needing no second, coming from the committee. Any discussion, amendments? All in favor of these appointments, vote yes. If not, vote no. And they are approved. Next item, Personnel Committee. Mr. Reed has a item for information in your packet. Do you wish to make any, I know you weren't able to attend the work session. Do you wish to address that?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, the Personnel Committee held a meeting. We discussed the positions of Human Resource Manager, Grant Coordinator, and we suspended the rules to discuss the position within the Sanitation Department as requested by Mr. Gall. For your information, we made a motion to add a position of Human Resource Manager at a salary of up to $62,000, including benefits. The motion passed with unanimous vote of all present in favor. we discussed the grant coordinator position. The mayor filled us in on the part-time clerical positions as assisting him focusing on grants and obtaining grants for Jefferson County in conjunction with the ETD. That motion passed to accept that 3-1. We did suspend the rules to consider Mr. Galt's request for a mechanic position within the sanitation department. You have a handout on that. We did make a motion to allow the sanitation director, Mr. Galt, to add a new mechanic position to the sanitation department at a salary of up to $45,000 plus benefits. That motion passed with a unanimous vote of all present in favor. And we recommend, that comes from the personnel committee as a motion, does not need a second.
Does not need a second. So recommendation from the personnel committee is one item, mechanic's position.
Yes. We recommend that we allow him to do that. He has showed how it will benefit the sanitation department, and it's up to him and the sanitation commission to make sure it works.
Mr. Parliamentary.
This came to the budget committee. The budget committee denied funding for it on both issues.
So does this need, if Mr. Reed wants to, this could be a budget amendment?
If he wants to do this, since the funding was denied, it has to come to the floor from a commissioner with a motion and a second.
The personnel committee unanimously approved it. I understand about the budget. There's no money. The money is in place in Mr. Galt's department. It's been approved by the sanitation department. It would be my recommendation that we accept the recommendation of the sanitation department and the director and allow them to do this because it's most likely, and it's up to them, to save the county money. I view that as a positive light, especially within the way that we're handling all the issues that we have with funding. It's up to them to make it work. And if something goes wrong, it's up to them to solve it. He's a department head.
This personnel committee's motion in order. Motion and second come from the committee to this body.
Not with, after the funding was denied by the thing, it has to come to the floor by a commissioner with a motion and a second.
Mr. Chairman, do I have a right to make an amendment when we come to?
You do. Any commissioner can make an amendment during the budget process.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is Public Service Committee. Mr. Carmichael, is this going to be postponed until July?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. We're working on, just so the public knows, we're working on the lease ordinance. There's some gaps and some things that need to be filled out in this process as the committee works back and forth with the attorney. We really need to get this correct when we do it. And so that's what the issue there. Not it's an issue, it's just a matter of time getting things in place and doing it. So I've received a request from the National Park Service, so you'll see Resolution 2019-21 as a handout in your packet. I would ask for a motion and a second to adopt this resolution. We have a motion by Mr. Solomon, second by Mr. Fagan. Do we have a motion to amend? No? All right. Any discussion? All in favor of Resolution 2019-21, vote yes. If not, vote no. And resolution passes. Item 2 from Top Seal, Resolution 2019-22, after 2 public hearings. This is amending the zoning map from A1 to R1. Property is at 806 Goose Creek Road. A motion to approve would be in order. Motion by Mr. Solomon, second by Mr. Byrd. Discussion. All in favor of this resolution, vote yes. Opposed, no. Resolution passes. Next item from the Finance Director, Resolution 2019-28, increase the threshold over which public advertisement, sealed competitive bids or proposals are required. Motion to approve by Mr. Fagan, second by Mr. Seal. Amendments or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of this resolution, vote yes. Opposed, no. Resolution passes 19-1. Resolution 2019-29, authorizing and approving leases of business machines pursuant to TCA Code 751-904 for the benefit of the departments in Jefferson County, Tennessee for our next fiscal year. Motion to approve by Mr. Solomon, second by Mr. Seal. Amendment or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of this resolution vote yes. Opposed, vote no. And resolution passes. Resolution 2019-30, it's a resolution to declare a surplus and to authorize the White Pine Library of Jefferson County to salvage and dispose of said equipment. Motion to approve by Mr. Coleman, second by Mr. Byrd. No discussion, no amendments, all in favor vote yes, opposed no. Resolution passes. It's kind of like the Wheel of Fortune or something. Resolution 2019-32, surplus and authorized Sheriff's Department, Jefferson County dispose of said equipment. Motion to approve will be in order. Mr. Dockery, motion. Second, Mr. Solomon. Mr. Baxley, wish to speak?
I do. On my little tablet here, and I noticed it says we don't have the capability to make a motion or second.
I've got the same thing, Randy. It's never popped up until there's a motion and a second.
It's never come up.
Because some of you guys are punching them really quick.
Well, there's nothing to punch.
Yeah.
Well, let's try it again. Because somebody's already motioned and seconded.
All right,
So let's try it again, and not everybody punch real quick. See if comes up.
any other discussion on this resolution 2019-32? All in favor of this resolution vote yes. Opposed, no. So this motion passed with one abstain. The next resolution, give it just a second, and let's see if everybody has the ability to make a motion. So motion, resolution 2019-33. Does everyone have the option to make a motion? Don't everybody do it? Was it there?
Yeah.
Well, we don't need 21 motions. Mr. Kester's wanting to speak.
Huh? How'd that happen?
Well, I don't know. A motion would be in order. Mr. Bales, second by Mr. Seal. Any comments or all in favor vote yes. Not vote no. Resolution passes. Don't you like the way it singles you out?
You got that
You
rhythm.
don't vote. Okay.
That's almost bullied.
I know. Next item is Budget Committee Amendment, County Amendments, General Fund 101. Mr. Scarlett?
We have several of these go through year-end stuff. There is none of these affect fund balance, some of them will affect the reserve. We can bundle these together and move through these if that is your all's preference. I'll just do it if you want to, if there's no objection.
Did somebody make a motion to bundle?
If there's no objection, I'll just bundle these together within each group. I'll bundle all the 207s, all the 111s, all the 116s. If you get the one you won't pull out, yell. And I'll read you what you got.
So, are we voting on General Fund 101?
You're gonna vote on General Fund 101, 9, 10, and 11.
And that's General Fund.
General Fund 101, 9, 10, and 11. Basically, all year-end stuff. Is that correct, Mr. Lane?
Yeah, there's a small insurance recovery in there as well. A couple of them. Clean up.
These were all passed by the Budget Committee, so moved, Mr. Chairman.
So we have a motion, that don't need a second, coming from the Budget Committee. Any amendments or discussion on General Fund that we're dealing with? Hearing none, all in favor, vote yes, opposed no. The budget amendment passes. Next will
Next
be,
one is Law Library at 114, Amendment 1, $50. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
we'll have to do a voice vote on that. That's not loaded in the system. Any discussion or amendments to the law library? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries by voice vote. Next item, Mr. Scully.
Sanitation Fund 116, Amendment 2, 3, and 4. That's a reimbursement on grant, year-end adjustment, and another year-end adjustment. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Coming from Budget Committee, needs no second. Any amendments, adjustments, or discussion? All in favor of this budget amendment, vote yes. If not, no.
Don't reset.
Mr. Fagan? No, all right. That amendment passes. Mr. Scarlett?
Highway Fund 131, Amendment 4, 5, and 6. 6 uses a reserve, they're purchasing asphalt. They do have a reserve. So move it, Mr. Chairman.
Coming from Budget Committee, needs no second amendment or discussion. All in favor of Highway Fund Amendment, vote yes. Opposed, no. Amendment passes. Mr. Scarlett?
Debt Service 151, Amendment number 1. Amendment due to additional expenses on E3D loans. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Needing no second, any discussion or amendments? Hearing none, all in favor vote yes, opposed no. Resolution passes. Mr. Scarlett?
Capital Fund 171, Amendment 3. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have landfill up there, so we'll have to do a voice vote on capital fund. Any amendments or discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Amendment passes. Mr. Scarlett.
Landfill 207, Amendment 4, 5, and 6. Year-end adjustment, reimbursement for grant, year-end adjustment. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Comes from committee, needs no second. Discussion or amendment? Hearing none, all in favor of 4, 5, and 6 on the landfill fund, vote yes. Opposed, no. Resolution passes. Believe it or not, there are no, sorry, Mr. Scarlett, you, any more?
Yes, we've got school budget.
Okay.
General purpose 141, budget amendment 10, 11, and 12, and 13 in your packet.
We'll have to do a voice vote on this. Any amendments or corrections? All in favor?
It does use a reserve. It also contains, where you moved, or gave welding money, just getting it in the right spot. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Not needing a second. Any amendments or discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes by voice vote.
Student nutrition, 143, 101, and 102 in your packet. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Discussion or amendment? Hearing none. All in favor of student nutrition 101, 102 say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes without opposition. Mr. Scarlett.
We have 2 more amendments that are passed pending the passage of the budget. We need to come back to.
Okay, we'll come back to that after passage of the budget.
Passes, and we need to do that.
Okay. Is that all of our amendments for now, Mr. Scarlett?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us down to resolution 2019-25, making appropriations to nonprofit charitable organizations of Jefferson County, Tennessee for our next fiscal year, July 1 to June the 30th of 2020. Motion to amend by Mr. Blevins.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to offer an amendment to Resolution 2019-25, the appropriations to nonprofits for fiscal year 2019-2020 from the hotel motel tax, occupancy tax. I move to amend the resolution as follows. I have a handout for anyone who would like to read along with it. It's quite simple, really. It says that any nonprofit, county board, or other entity that receives funding from the proceeds generated by the hotel motel tax will be required to meet the following requirements as a condition of funding for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020. Section A, fully comply with the requirements of the Open Meetings Act under Tennessee Code Annotated 844-101, and fully comply with the requirements of the Public Records Act, TCA 107503, notwithstanding any exceptions prescribed by state law and pursuant to TCA 51130 and 654-142. No part of this amendment would compel any economic development professional acting on behalf of Jefferson County or any city within Jefferson County to reveal the identity of any business or tourism event provider that would require confidentiality. So that takes care of that part. Statutory authority to set this nonprofit guideline is given to us under TCA 59109, provides authority for local governments to set guidelines for appropriations of nonprofits.
We have a second to this amendment.
Second.
Need to push the button.
I got it.
All right. Discussion. Remember to Who's requested to speak? Seeing no discussion, we're voting on the amendment that Mr. Blevins has presented. All in favor of the amendment, vote yes. If you're opposed to the amendment, vote no. Amendment fails. We're back to the original resolution. Resolution 2019-25, nonprofit appropriations. Amendment or discussion? All in favor? Did we get a second on this original? It came from budget committee, didn't it?
This is the
Doesn't need a second. Any discussion or amendment? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor of this resolution vote yes. Opposed, no. Motion passes 17-1, 2 abstain. Next item.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just for clarity, I believe there's a difference between abstaining and abstaining with cause. There's no distinction on this pad for that.
Are you abstaining with cause?
Yes, sir.
We'll note that for the record and also for Mr. Solomon. Thank you. And I don't know whether it'll ever have abstaining with cause on it, to be honest with you.
We'll discuss it with the
Next item, 2019-26, making appropriations for the various funds, departments, institutions, offices, and agencies of Jefferson County for our next fiscal year, beginning July 1, ending June the 30th, 2020. Coming from the budget meeting, there's no motion or second. It is open to discussion or amendments. Hearing none, I'm assuming you're ready to vote. All in favor of resolution 29, sorry.
You just want to make a motion or an amendment?
You want to make an amendment? Okay.
There's no opportunity to amend.
The system's probably wanting a motion in a second before it has an amendment. It doesn't realize this is not. So if somebody, all right, AJ, now you can hit it. Well, you can hit it. Okay, Mr. Walker.
I move to amend the budget on the advice of our attorney. I move to fund the environmental department at the prior year's level with the addition of the county raises and associated costs.
Sorry. Say again.
I amend on the advice of our attorney to move the environmental fund department at the prior level of last year in addition of the county raises and associated costs.
We need those figures. So you're making a motion to amend it to last year's budget. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that figure is what, Mr. Potts? We're going from what to what, just so we're. Do we have a second for this amendment? Let me ask that. We have a second, Mr. Coleman, all right.
Yeah, I'll second it, but I ain't got no screen.
Somebody already gave it. You can third it, you can third it, but you can't second it.
Well, you're on 38 if you're wanting to look at the budget where it's at. Page 38 in the package.
That's right.
Nothing like being prepared.
Well, I know, I had it in my hand, but I figured everybody else here was pretty knowledgeable on it. I ain't bringing the book. All right, request to speak. Mr. Reed, are you speaking in favor or against?
I'm speaking against this amendment. I've looked at the last several years of the environmental department. Evidently, about 3 years ago, the department was cut approximately $16,300 and something. I have an issue because we basically cut that amount of money from the director's salary. Looking at information that was provided just a couple of years ago, most of the counties around us either have 2 or 3 employees doing what we have one director doing. And it's anywhere from $80,000 salary for Knox County, environmentalist $40,000. They got number of employees 5. Hamlin County, they have a coordinator, they have a project manager. Between those two is $110,000. Nowhere have I read where the director of the environmental department has ever been counseled for not doing his job. If we look at Stonebridge subdivision over across the river, we can see the results of his efforts from approximately $200,000 to $400,000 into the coffers of the county. I am not sure where this came from of cutting his salary several years ago. I really am not looking at that. I think just from everything that I have researched, I've talked to, that it would be wrong. This would be the only department that we are basically right off the bat saying we need to cut after it came out of the budget committee approved. So the budget committee approved this budget for the environmental department, and I recommend that we do not amend this, that we vote as it stands. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Anyone willing to speak in favor of the amendment?
I would just like to echo Commissioner Reed's comments.
Make sure Rob, go ahead and get that.
John, did you have one? Yes.
No,
Sorry,
Mr.
go ahead.
You want to, okay,
Sorry, go ahead.
flip a coin.
Real short and sweet, exactly what I would say. He's brought more money in. This is the only one we're going to change back. I need,
You're speaking against the amendment, right?
yes, against it.
Anyone to speak in favor of the amendment? Mr. Scarlett.
I'm going to agree with Mr. Walker. I sit here, and based on the advice of our attorney, I'm going to support this amendment. And I know that that was in an attorney meeting, but based on his advice, I'm going to support this amendment.
Mr. Douglas.
Just want to point out one thing. It did pass the budget committee, but it was a split vote. It was not unanimous.
5-4.
It was a split vote.
Are you speaking in favor or against?
I'm just stating fact.
Okay, I'm just asking a question. Mr. Carmine.
From Florida. Thing about it is, we've been down this road many times. And I dispute Mr. Reed's comments about how other counties actually do it. You know, Cobb County and Hamlin County has the same inspector. They're 2 days a week. You know, the caseload of this department on average is anywhere from 27 to 31 job sites a month. And I mean, how much do you need to do that? And that's why I speak in favor of this until litigation and everything's settled down. I'll speak for the amendment.
You've had an opportunity.
I didn't use how many minutes do I have?
You have one opportunity.
One opportunity.
But I will, give me just a second to see where this goes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else wishing to speak? Mr. Reed, Chair will recognize you for a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I listened to the attorney, and I did not get to go the second time, but the first time I did not hear the words. He said basically it was up to us. I just think that it's wrong to take money away from a person when you have no reason to, and I will stand by that statement. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Mr. Fagan.
Yes, I'll be speaking in favor. The folks in the community who deal with that office as part of their job and occupation that have contacted me and spoken to me directly have made laudable accounts of how that office performs and the job that Mr. Carter does. my recollection of the second meeting is he was asked what his preference would be. I don't recall it being what his recommendation would be as far as the attorney.
Request to speak. Hearing none, we will be voting on the amendment. Everyone clear on the amendment? That is to return the environmental budget to the previous year's amount. If you're in favor of this amendment, vote yes. Sorry.
I hit the wrong button.
Should give you a change vote.
If you're in favor of the amendment, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no.
Showing she's lost. Yeah.
It says I voted.
Maybe it didn't like our voters.
Do we hit the yellow says continue?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
My hand. That's not a good thing.
Okay, now, try to continue, see what happens. Yep.
All right, we're back to everybody that was present before. (2019-26) with an amendment. Yep.
Somebody had to see the second motions.
Mr. Walker made the amendment, and we did that motion second. Then Mr. Walker made the amendment, and
We're on the amendment, right?
I don't remember who seconded.
We were still discussing the amendment, correct?
Yeah.
Somebody hit amend.
I did.
Mr. Walker, you hit amend again?
And whoever seconded.
I've got a pencil here.
I got ink pen too, I already got it out.
Sorry, guys, we're just kind of,
Working through it. Well, everybody voted, we just don't know what it was. Whoa. Whoa. I'm gonna switch to a roll call vote here on the minute.
Yep, go ahead. Computer's looking at you.
You can work with the computer, but I'm gonna go switch, I'm gonna ask the clerk to call the roll on the amendment vote. If you're in favor of the amendment, vote yes, as the clerk calls your name. If you're opposed, vote no.
Katie Huffaker. Todd Kesterson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
Jimmy Dale Patterson.
Yes.
Randy Baxley.
Yes.
Paul Lowe.
No.
Michael Fagan.
No.
Greg Bird.
No.
Edna Langley.
No.
Tim Seals.
No.
Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
No.
Ralph Jean Esslinger.
No.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett.
Yes.
Ronnie Coleman.
Yes.
Terry Dockery.
No.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Yes.
AJ Walker.
Yes.
Marcus Reed.
Yes. No.
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 Push no.
Heidi Thomas.
No.
It's a tie. I recommend we continue discussion and vote again. Okay?
No, the mayor.
I don't have a
It's
vote.
not, your benchmark is 11. You gotta have a majority of the seats.
So it fails.
It
Period.
fails.
So the amendment fails. You have to have 11 for something to pass, and there's not 11. So the amendment fails.
Mr. Chairman, can't you vote?
No.
On a tie?
No.
Why not?
Well,
Because he's mayor.
I believe the law says you can't.
I believe the law says you can.
I abstain. If I do, so. Motion fails. Right, you have to have 11.
Gotta have 11 anyway, it doesn't matter. If there's only 10 votes, the motion fails. There's no question.
Right, okay. So we're back to the original resolution. 2019-26. It's appropriation for various funds. Departments, institutions, offices, and agencies of Jefferson County.
Do you need a motion for that?
No, it comes from the budget committee. We have a motion second. We had an amendment to it that failed. It didn't receive enough votes. So now we're back to the original resolution. Mr. Fagan.
I'd like to vote to amend to incorporate the position that Mr. Reed brought forward.
Have a motion to amend, including the mechanic's position. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
So we have a motion to amend. Do we have a second to the amendment?
Second.
Mr. Seals. Discussion. Whichever, Mr. Scarlett.
Well, I oppose the, as we turned this down to budget committee, based on the deficit was $3,740,000 change, and we increased, that was an increase of $336,000 from the previous year on a fine from the state. This position is going to be, mechanics cost is $45,000 plus associated benefits. But this mechanic is not going to be able to, according to Mr. Gall and Mr. Reed when they brought it forward, this mechanic is not going to be able to do all the work. So therefore, some other work has got to be farmed out on this. There's $100,000 in that line for maintenance, if I remember right. And you're hiring a person, you got to buy a truck, you got to have tools, and you're still going to be sending stuff out. So
I'm still opposed to this, just like it was, but
Mr. Dockery, then Mr. Payton.
I'll try to make it simple. My question is, does this motion add anything to that department budget, or is it simply moving money from one line item such as contracting services to labor? So is it a wash? Because I heard the comments we're gonna save money. So is there any additional money involved over and above what's already in the proposed budget?
I didn't hear any additional funds from Mr. Payton's motion on
I'd like to ask Mr. Gall to speak to that.
My original request was to add some additional funds for the truck. That's gonna be a one-time, I mean, 1 year, you're gonna have to buy one truck. If we add a position and I have to do it all out of the budget, I can do that. I have backhoe in there for this year. I can buy cheaper backhoe, switch some money around if that's what I'm forced to do. I would like to just give you a little example of what's going on this week. So it's been raining. Mr. Scarlett, you work in the dirt, you know it's been raining, it's been muddy, we work in the dirt. We need to be working in dirt to get some of this cell work done, closure done. We've not been able to fit in the dirt. It's dried up a little bit this week. Our dirt compactor's tore up. We called Friday, get the mechanic in to work on our dirt compactor. We've got all the parts there. We get the mechanic tomorrow. I've lost all week on dirt work, just because I've not got equipment running. Got 2 other dozers down, been waiting on him for that. So, I'm not saying we're gonna save any money, and there are some things that may have to be farmed out, but the mechanic's gonna be able to keep us running, and he'll be there every day. Right now, we get him when we can get him. So, to me, it makes sense. I mean, it's up to you all, I guess. I guess one thing, being on commission previously, and I'm not trying to rub your craw, Mr. Scarlett, but it just seems to me that if the personnel committee brings a unanimous recommendation to the full body, it should be brought to the full body and not budget committee having authority over the full body. The full body, in my opinion, should have been able to vote on that recommendation and then go on to budget. And I know that may have been part of my fault because we brought the cart before the horse in the budget process. I was trying to make it easier. But I felt like the personnel committee was kind of sliding up there.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Mr. Scarlett.
I will be, for clarity, does your motion include any additional funding over and beyond what's in the budget?
Does it need to?
I can make it work.
It doesn't.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Scarlett.
I don't think that the budget committee is trying to slide the personnel committee. It's brought to the full body. But the budget, it was brought to the budget committee, and once they turned it down, anybody can bring it to the full body, any commissioner can bring it to the full body. We just turned down the funding of the position. So it was brought to us prior to that. So I think your assumption that we're sliding or have control over that is wrong.
Let's get back on track. We're talking about the amendment to the budget. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the amendment, adding this position without a change in fund balance or any of the budget, the sanitation budget, that's operating this mechanic at the same money as the budget, correct, Mr. Clayton? No extra funds?
Correct.
Mr. Reed?
I go back to saying to the commissioners, we've talked about how close some of the votes have been coming out of the budget committee. This came out of the personnel committee with a unanimous decision. I may have misquoted by saying we will save some money, but it's important to me. I know what maintenance is. It's important to have somebody on site in order to take care of situations. I think that's what Mr. Goff's attempting to do. And as I said before, him and the sanitation commission will have to make it work because they have only the amount of money that's approved by the budget. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Will the sanitation department come back next year and be asking for a truck and some other stuff as this position goes along? Is this something that's gonna grow?
I wouldn't think so.
Anyone to speak, Ms. Lang?
I just want clarification. On the handout that personnel furnished us, at the very bottom, it says justification, and it talks about the monies that have been spent, and I'm assuming these were provided by Mr. Ball. 51,000, 42,000, 96,000, 60,000, and personnel recommends an amount of 45,000? That sounds like a saving,
Plus benefit, so it's closer to 60,000.
Big, but it would be a wash, but you wouldn't be having to wait around for somebody to come.
Thank you. Other discussion? Are we ready to go back to electronic?
Tell anybody that has, if your tablets have continue, hit continue. Then log in. Okay, no, mine has nothing.
If that's the case, we'll have a roll call vote on the amendment.
State the amendment for everybody's clarity one more
I
time.
was afraid you were gonna say that. The amendment is to add the position as presented in your packet from the Personnel Committee without any change in the monies in the fund. It will be funded through the sanitation budget by Mr. Galt without any additional funds. Landfill, I'm sorry. Landfill. All in favor of this amendment? Mr. Clerk, will you call the roll?
Todd Kesterson.
No.
Steve Douglas.
No.
Jimmy Dale Patterson.
No.
Randy Baxley.
Yes.
Paul Lowe.
Yes.
Michael Fagan.
Yes.
Greg Bird.
Yes.
Edna Langley.
Yes.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
Yes.
Gene Esslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
No.
John Mills Scarlett.
No.
Ronnie Coleman.
No.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
No.
AJ Walker.
No.
Marcus Reed.
Yes.
Heidi Thomas.
Yes.
Amendment passes 12-8. So resolution 2019-26 as amended. With that budget item, we are back to the original resolution as amended. Discussion or amendments? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote as on resolution 2019-26 as amended. Ms. Clerk, call the roll.
Todd Kesterson.
No.
Steve Douglas.
No.
Jimmy Dale Patterson.
No.
Randy Baxley.
Yes.
Paul Lowe.
Yes.
Michael Fagan.
Yes.
Greg Bird.
Yes.
Edna Langley.
Yes.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon.
No.
Robert Blevins.
Yes, ma'am.
Gene Esslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
No.
John Mills Scarlett.
No.
Ronnie Coleman.
No.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
No.
AJ Walker.
No.
Marcus Reed.
Yes.
Heidi Thomas.
Yes.
passes 11-9. Resolution passes 11-9. I think we're going back electronic. Resolution.
Did you hear what I said?
No,
We're almost done.
I know.
Log out.
It's kind of hard to mash that continue button in. Resolution 2019-27, fixing the tax levy in Jefferson County. Comes from Budget Committee.
Yes, sir. Let me say something about this. The original thing, that you all have a budget that is updated. The original tax rate we were given was changed. And it's noted in your package on the front end. On June 11th, the assessor came back in and gave Mr. Lane a different tax rate. But the motion from the Budget Committee was to add 5 cents, add X number of dollars, or use X number of dollars out of the fund balance. So he adjusted that based on, and your tax rate is 219 as opposed to 218, which you saw in the original budget. So this budget is changed from what you saw.
Thank you, Mr. Scarlett. And our tax rate went from 235 to 219.
No, sir. Our tax rate went from 235 to 214 and change, which is an equalization rate. That's dollar for dollar.
Okay.
Then the Budget Committee, what came out of the Budget Committee, this budget adds 5 cents to that rate and uses X number of dollars to balance the budget.
Thank you for that clarification. This comes from the Budget Committee. Doesn't need a second. Mr. Byrd.
Yes, I just want to be more clarified on what the 5 cents was for. Because, you know, like I said, we come back 214, well, it's not even 5 cents, it's what, 4.6 cents. What is that? Why did we raise it from that? You said to balance the budget.
Well, $200,000 were approximately $200,000 or $220,000, I think, was for employee raises, 2%. Each 1% costs approximately $100,000, plus the highway, plus 911. You didn't want yours, didn't you, Mr. Charlie? Okay, I'm just kidding. Plus the landfill. That's approximately, we are approximately, the other stuff we added, just like what you all added to the environmental, each one of those things adds to the budget. And we got it down to $900 and some thousand. And the 5 cents generates approximately $650,000. The penny change on what we did, $653 lower than what we expected, and therefore that's why we had to adjust the budget based on that. But the 5 cents is increased cost all the way across the board. The Budget Committee, that's what the Budget Committee recommended.
Did that clarify your question, Mr. Byrd?
Not completely, because I'm still looking at the budgets, seeing everybody, you know, before I say that, the general fund and the school fund, both went up, everybody else's budgets look like they went down when we added the 5 cents. Did we get money from the other budgets and just leave those top 2 alone, or raise those top 2?
No, we did not. We started in the hole. Last year, there was approximately 600-some-thousand miscellaneous extra.
Yes.
Approximately 600-some-thousand. So we started with that. Then you add raises of 200-some-thousand. Then you had associated costs of normal rises. The school budget came in dollar for dollar what they were. They actually cut their budget in operational and came up with an extra $300,000. They had spent $200,000 in capital. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm doing this from memory. They had spent last year $200,000 inside their budget in capital. They came up with another $300 and some thousand with what they're doing to be able to spend the capital. They did ask us to match that $500,000. We told them we could not afford that. We did give them 2 cents, and when the tax rate changed, it was $48,000 lower than what it would have been had the tax rate not changed. So their budget per se went up to 2 cents, but it is earmarked for capital in it. The regression went down to, I think, 79 cents, Mr. Lang, or 80, somewhere in there. So you got the county budget, you added to it, you had pre-existing costs that had already built in, you added $200-some thousand in employee raises. And then there was some other associated costs that did raise the budget for the county.
That must be that new math, because I'm looking at last year's budget, $9,959,325. Looking at the budget that was presented after appraisal, $9,959,325. Looking at after growth, $10,058,918. And then after you go up, then it's showing $10,265,507. I know I'm old school math, but that still goes up almost $300,000.
Well, you had 600
last year.
As I said, you had $600-some thousand you added to the budget that you did not supply revenue for last year. That was already built in to last year's budget, and there was no revenue source supplied for it.
What about the general fund? That's the same thing to me. Like I said, I'm new, I'm learning. I mean, it's gone up. Before, after growth was 81 cents, and then with the new budget, went up 6 cents almost for the general fund. Did we take money out of the general fund and have to refill it, or?
No, we went up 5 cents. Well, the general fund is where the $600-some thousand was. It's a pre-existing money. We went up 5 cents, plus we used 2 cents capital. 2 cents capital. It went to the schools for their capital match. And then we used, how much, Mr. Lane, from the fund balance?
Fund balance, we're using $340,000. Plus we took 2 cents out of this county capital as well. We can get caught up with our existing capital projects.
The shortfall from last year was covered by the hospital fund, and then when the rollover came in, we were extremely fortunate to have enough to pay that back. So we used basically the majority of our rollover just to cover the thing, and we did not have a revenue source for any of what we added last year. And part of what we added was from the fire departments and stuff like that. We came up with a new formula on their disposition of money.
Mr. Doctor.
Commissioner Byrd, I don't know which page you're looking at, but.
18.
Yeah, okay, well, I mean, I understand you say you're new, because I was the same way you were when I first started, but to put it as simple as you can, the actual for 2018-19 is $26,900,000, and the budget that this commission just approved has spending at $27,754,000, and the nickel increase is to provide the revenue for that increase in spending. This does at least show you where the pennies of that 240 or the 219 are going. But other than that, you really, to get down to the detail, you have to dig deep or all through the detail by department to know exactly where every dollar is going, where the increase is. But I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, Chairman Scarlett, if you don't want to raise property taxes 5 cents, do we have to go backwards and cut something out of the budget we just passed because we won't have the money to pay for it?
We are required by TCA to have balanced budget. And the budget just passed, what you voted on just passed all of the spending and revenue assumptions. The next thing you'll do is pass a tax levy for that to cover that. And Mr. Langdon has made all the numbers fit, work, and we do have a balanced budget that he will send to the comptroller.
Let me have a crack at this. Mr. Byrd, when they got done with the budget committee went back through it, cut the budget some more. The finance director went back through the budget, found some items that had not been used or averaged out lower than what had been in the budget, and things were cut again. I feel confident that the budget committee and the finance director and everybody involved did every cut possible. Some cuts hurt, they all hurt, but they did those cuts, and then with the increase there's always an increase in your operation from year to year, just like in our home, gasoline and utilities and things, and that figures into our budget. I know usually we think 3 to 4%, but there's usually an operating cost, and then we gave employee raises. So the budget committee was faced with, how do we fund these raises? And that's where the nickel came from, Mr. Byrd. But they did not want the tax rate to go any greater than that. So they're using $300,000 fund balance to keep that tax rate at 5 at the nickel. If that makes more sense.
Just to clarify, I understand everything y'all been saying, but I've asked why debt services, capital, solid waste, and highway all have been cut, and school in general have gone up. That was my main thing I'd asked.
Part of that, Mr. Byrd, was due to rounding, because the state does not allow us to do a half penny. And so, let me think. I think the solid waste when it came in was, well, if you go over to the third column on page 18,
yes,
the equalization rate is each one of those numbers. So landfill was 13.7 cents, and they rounded
down.
They rounded in. The highway was 18.2. They rounded in.
Down.
So it's a function of rounding rather than actually cutting, as going in there and cutting their budget. The state does not allow us to use a half penny anymore. It has to be even numbers, even though they send us the tax rate in a fractionalized number and then want us to work with it.
There again, I realize it's a long time I was in school, but 79.4 would be round up to 80, not 81. 81.2 would round up to 82 if you want to go that way instead of 87.
Well, we only had X number of dollars to work with.
Okay.
So we have to come to a thing where we round to make those dollars work.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily.
You answered my question, but I just, yeah.
We don't necessarily have to round up or down. It's a matter of where it fits.
Okay.
Other discussion, request to speak, amendments? If not, sir, go ahead. Mr. Douglas, sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. I'm learning too.
None of this I'm about to say is gonna be real popular, okay? I gave up about a long time ago. Mr. Lane, how much, I think I know, how much do we put hospital fund in? Can you write out $750,000?
It's, yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'll tell you in just a second.
What's the hospital fund sitting at right now?
About 6 million, I believe.
Okay. I understand you gotta have money for a rainy day. I understand all that. But I want everybody here to understand what we're getting ready to do. We're getting ready, if this budget passes, to raise the taxes on the citizenry of this county. So we're bringing in $340 million a year from the hospital fund, in a fund that has roughly $6 million in it. Now, having money problems. Or knows mine does, with 2 kids, one just out of college and one getting ready to start. But, I just want everybody to get the gravity of that situation. How far out for?
It's bringing 750 a year, that's correct.
Okay. That's all we got, Mr. Chairman, to you.
Thank you. Discussion. Amendments or discussion? Hearing no more discussion, we're ready to vote. Vote yes if you approve as amended. No, that's not amended, it's tax rate, sorry. As presented. Vote yes on the tax rate as presented to you. No if you oppose. Tax rate passes 11-9. Next item. Resolution 2019-31, increasing compensation of members of the Jefferson County Board of Education.
Mr. Chairman, that this was inside the budget that the school board brought us. They are raising the compensation to equalize it with county commissioners' compensation.
We need a motion to
We're not. No, it comes from the budget committee.
Okay, coming from budget committee, needs no motion or second.
If you want to make that motion, go ahead.
I was trying to make sense of you.
Do you want to amend that and put it in there with it, or what are you asking?
Do you have an amendment, Mr. Suit?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor of resolution 2019-31, vote yes. Opposed, vote no. Passes 19-1. Commissioners, we have come to the conclusion of our approved agenda.
No.
We have, oh yeah, we've got sorry. Pending amendments based upon the passing of the budget, will you present that, Mr. Scarlett?
There are a couple of things that are, and I was asked to bring out. Number one, there was money voted for radios inside the budget, and I was asked to bring that out, to be paid for by debt service. So that's number one. Number two, budget amendment, general fund 101, amendment 1. Now what we did was, Mr. Dockery has been very much an advocate for the folks at Parish Chapter. And what we felt was, based on what Mr. Brad had said, he's 4 in, is that correct? Mr. Brad, 4, you're 4 down right now? So 3. 4 at the time of the budget committee. The motion was made that we add 2 EMTs so that you may put on 1 full, but I should say 6.
Add additional shift.
Add an additional shift for a full-time ambulance, so it can relieve the way it is, not only for Parish Chapel, but Big Bend and Strawberry Plains and a lot of other things. What we felt as the budget committee was that he may not get them all hired, and rather than put this in the budget, and we know that there'll be an issue next year because it's not funded with revenue, but based on that, we are asking to put into a reserve $295,000 out of fund balance to go to a reserve that if Mr. Brad finds the people to fill these positions, he can access it. All he's got to do is come to Mr. Langman and say, I've found. Should he not find them through the course of the year, if he finds 2 or 4 or whatever, as he hires them, he can access it. But it is not part of the budget. And what the budget committee felt was that this says, hey, we're committing to this for Parish Chapel, Strawberry Plains, we're committing this with the ambulance service, EMS. We're not ready, we're ready to do it, but we don't want to impose on the tax rate at this time. So based on that, budget amendment number 1 on the budget you passed would be fund balance, set aside a reserve for $295,000. It does require a roll call vote.
So it, motion then it comes from the budget committee.
Budget committee, so moved, Mr. Chairman.
Amendments or request to speak. Amendment 1 is budget amendment for $295,000 to be moved from fund balance into a reserve for EMS personnel. We'll have a roll call vote verbally. Ms. Clerk, you call the roll.
Todd Kesterson,
Yes.
Steve Douglas,
Yes.
Jimmy Dale Patterson,
Yes.
Randy Baxley.
Yes.
Paul Lowe,
Yes.
Michael Fagan,
Yes.
Greg Bird,
Yes.
Edna Langley,
Yes.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon,
Yes.
Robert Blevins,
Yes.
Gene Eslinger,
Yes.
Randy Bales,
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett,
Yes.
Ronnie Coleman,
Yes.
Terry Dockery,
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael,
Yes.
AJ Walker,
Yes.
Marcus Reed,
Yes.
Heidi Thomas,
Yes.
First amendment to your new budget passes unanimously.
All right, second amendment to the new budget is the School Fund 141, budget amendment number 1. Now this, the part of this is some grants and stuff they got to apply for, Mr. Langdon. We won't be meeting before they can get to them. The other thing is the welding booths, and there's a reserve to, not necessarily the booths, but the welding program, the CTE program that we did partner with them in. So there's 180,000 change on it. There's 300,000 for corrected code on textbook stuff after the budget come in. The school has worked very hard. Ms. Jones, Mr. Langland, and all his staff have worked very hard on this budget. And a couple of things that we have to pick up occasionally. But I would like to commend them and thank them. We're one of the first counties, if not the first county, to get our budget done, and we got it done on time. And I want to thank, before we get off this, I want to thank the budget committee for their service. It was not fun. It was a little long and protracted occasionally, but so moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion second coming from committee, amendments or discussion. Steve, are you requesting the speaker set this up there?
No, that was on the last one we done.
Oh, okay.
Stick a hand in the shade.
I thought you
Here, I'll take, okay. Here,
I thought you want to speak on the motion to adjourn. So,
If you'll throw that thing instead of punching the button.
I just go see if he's paying attention. I didn't help, he was the one that gave me the
Well, it was, he did recommend the property tax.
I forgot this, mention that.
Okay.
So the press knows.
Well, let's vote on this and y'all can remember this later. School budget 141. All in favor of this, we'll do a roll call vote.
Todd Kesterson,
Yes.
Steve Douglas,
Yes.
Jimmy Dale Patterson,
Yes.
Randy Baxley,
Yes.
Paul Lowe,
Yes.
Michael Fagan,
Yes.
Greg Bird,
Yes.
Edna Langley,
Yes.
Tim Seals,
Yes.
Sammy Solomon,
Yes.
Robert Blevins,
Yes.
Gene Eslinger,
Yes.
Randy Bales,
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett,
Yes.
Ronnie Coleman,
Yes.
Terry Dockery,
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael,
Yes.
AJ Walker,
Yes.
Marcus Reed,
Yes.
Heidi Thomas.
Amendment passes. Mr. Scarlett, other items?
That is all I have on the budget, unless somebody wants to jump in on something else.
We have a motion by Mr. Coleman and a second by Mr. Seals to adjourn. All in favor, vote yes and leave. If you're opposed, stay. We are adjourned.